Welcome to our channel. Today, we delve into the fascinating battle tactics and strategies that shaped Portugal's military history, from the times of the Lusitanians to more recent periods. Throughout the centuries, this small coastal country has demonstrated exceptional ability to adapt and innovate on the battlefield, leaving an indelible mark on world history. Since ancient times, Lusitanian warriors challenged powerful empires with cunning and courage, developing tactics that influenced future generations. From Viriato to the great commanders of the medieval and modern eras, Portugal continued to evolve its military strategies, facing diverse challenges on land and sea. In this video, we explore the innovative tactics that allowed Portugal to defend its independence, expand its borders, and influence global history. Together, we'll uncover how a combination of tactical ingenuity, disciplined training, and strategic boldness contributed to remarkable triumphs and military resilience. Prepare yourself for a journey through centuries of Portugal's military history, where each strategic decision not only shaped the course of battles, but also defined the destiny of a nation determined to make its mark on the world. Guerrilla warfare is a form of unconventional warfare, typically in rural areas, characterized by mobile and stealthy combat by irregular fighters. The strategy aims to offset military inferiority with moral and psychological superiority. In disadvantaged situations, guerrilla tactics prolong conflict to wear down the enemy. These tactics involve quick attacks and withdrawals to avoid direct confrontation, forcing the enemy into unsustainable efforts. Guerrillas avoid direct battles, opting for harassment tactics to maintain conflict. This involves rapid attacks and retreats before the enemy can respond effectively, making the enemy exert unsustainable efforts. Guerrilla success depends on high morale among fighters and the populace. Psychological actions exploit enemy weaknesses and mobilize popular passions through propaganda, indoctrination, and organization. Cavalry represents the mobile force of an army, used for reconnaissance, advanced security, and raids. Light cavalry, faster and less armored than heavy cavalry, excels in skirmishes and scouting. Developed in Central Asia, enhanced by nomadic peoples' cavalry techniques. In Europe, it became a crucial military force, often combined with infantry and other units. Exploration, offensive reconnaissance, covering friendly forces, deception, communication, and rapid raids. A naval blockade uses warships to isolate enemy ports or coasts, preventing the movement of goods and supplies. Ceuta had economic importance. Thus, after meticulous preparation for the journey that had begun in 1412, and to fulfill his wishes, a fleet composed of 212 ships, 59 galleys, 33 ships, and 120 small boats, departed from Lisbon on July 25, 1415, heading to Ceuta. O desembarque ocorreu a 21 de agosto, tendo a cidade sido controlada pelo contingente militar de cerca de 20,000 homens, e o castelo tomado no dia seguinte, 22 de agosto de 1415. After the conquest, they returned to Portugal with countless spoils, leaving D. Pedro de Menezes the heavy responsibility of governing and maintaining the city, together with 2,700 men. After the conquest, the largest mosque in Ceuta was transformed into a Christian church, in a usual policy of replacing symbols of power carried out by the victors. It also constituted the confirmation and success of the crusade against the infidels proposed by D. João I, and very well received by the Pope. Among the motivations behind the objective of conquering Ceuta, the economic one is particularly relevant. The benefit for Portugal of the conquest of Ceuta came from the possibility of consolidating a prominent position among other European countries. The king appeared at the head of the crusade that needed to be undertaken against Islam, and that is why it was in the Pope's and other monarchs' interest to protect him. This was reflected in papal concessions. The conquest of Ceuta, on the other hand, also constituted the springboard for the travels and settlement of Madeira, 1419, and the Azores, 1427, with incursions also into the Canaries. An ambush is a military tactic in which combatants use surprise and concealment to attack unsuspecting enemies. Ambushes can occur on land, at sea, or in the air, and they are characterized by surprise attacks launched from hidden positions. This tactic is used to inflict maximum damage on the enemy before they can effectively respond. Historically, ambushes have been a key strategy in asymmetric warfare, where smaller or less equipped forces used them to counter superior enemy forces. The Battle of Aljubarrota was fought between the Kingdom of Portugal and the Crown of Castile on 14 August 1385. The Restoration War, historically known as the Acclamation War, was the war between Portugal and Spain that began with the Portuguese Revolution of 1640 and ended with the Treaty of Lisbon in 1668, bringing a formal end to the Iberian Union. Maritime guerrilla operations involve unconventional naval warfare tactics used by smaller, often under-resourced forces to counter more powerful naval powers. These tactics rely on surprise, mobility, deception, and familiarity with the local environment, much like land-based guerrilla warfare. In Portugal's history, such tactics were employed in different contexts, particularly during times of colonial struggle and naval defense. Below are some key examples of maritime guerrilla operations in Portuguese history. The Dutch-Portuguese War, fought mostly over control of colonies in the East Indies, Africa, and Brazil, saw numerous examples of maritime guerrilla tactics. The Dutch, with their powerful navy and commercial fleets, sought to break the Portuguese monopoly over the spice trade and colonial holdings. During the Dutch invasion of Portuguese Brazil, featured such tactics. Local Portuguese forces, along with native Brazilians and African slaves, used guerrilla-like strategies, including attacks from dense coastal jungles and sudden raids on Dutch ships and supply lines. While not purely a naval conflict, the use of small boats and localized knowledge of the terrain played a key role in weakening the Dutch forces and eventually forcing their retreat. During the 20th century Angolan War of Independence, Portuguese forces faced guerrilla operations on land and sea, primarily from independence movements like the MPLA and FNLA. Although this conflict was mainly fought on land, guerrilla groups sometimes used maritime tactics to raid Portuguese coastal installations, harass naval patrols, and disrupt shipping. The insurgents utilized small, fast boats to move along Angola's coastline and inland rivers, where Portuguese naval vessels were too large to operate effectively. On the Portuguese side, counter-guerrilla operations involved deploying smaller patrol boats and using local intelligence to intercept these raids. The Portuguese Navy also launched surprise amphibious assaults against insurgent positions along the coast, using their smaller craft in conjunction with larger ships for support. As we explore the various strategies of war, it becomes clear that the battlefield reflects the social, political, and technological conditions of each era. These strategies teach us that war is not just about armed conflict. It involves a complex dance of intelligence, resources, and morale. Success often hinges on adaptability, innovation, and a profound understanding of both the enemy and the terrain. Furthermore, psychological warfare illustrates that the battle for the minds and hearts of people can be just as crucial as the physical battle. In light of what we've discussed, it's essential to reflect on how lessons from the past can be applied to modern wars and conflicts. The contemporary world, though different in many aspects, is still permeated by tensions and disputes that can, in some ways, be understood through the lens of military history. How can we learn from these strategies to pursue peace and conflict resolution more effectively? Finally, I invite all of you to continue this discussion in the comments. Which strategies do you think had the most significant impact in history? Are there modern tactics that could be added to this list? History is always in motion, and our understanding of it can help us shape a better future. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Together, we can continue to explore the fascinating narratives of Portugal's history.